Hello, and thanks for joining the Thursday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. Today on the program, aggrieved APC members form reformed APC as Oshomole appeals to Galadima. Others, as Ndume dismisses rebels. Senate calls for overhaul of security infrastructure. And later on the show, INEC describes Fayoshe's rigging alarm as baseless. I'll be hanging out with Mobolade Omonijo, Chris Kende Wandu, and Asukwo James. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thanks for joining us again. In politics, it is averred that there are no permanent allies or foes. Only a thin line of vested interests separates the two. Some aggrieved members of the ruling All Progressive Congress, APC, are pulled out to form reformed APC. Just underline that word, reformed APC. Rising from a meeting in Abuja on Wednesday, they announced Buba Galadima, the former ally of President Muhammadu Buhari, as chairman. They cited grievances arising from APC's congresses and alleged incompetence in governance as reasons for their action. As the time bomb planted during the highly disputed congresses begin to explode, a new national chairman, Adams Oshomole, appealed to Galadima and his lieutenant to reconsider their decision. But an unperturbed Senator Ali Ndume dismissed the group as constituting no threat to electoral fortunes of APC. Mobolade, let me start from you. We've been following this new PDP. It used to be new PDP under Baraji, and they were giving ultimatum. They were, at a point in time, they met with the vice president. At a point in time, they announced the stopped negotiation. And during the national convention, at least I saw the Senate president, I saw the speaker. So I know they were part of that convention. So I thought, okay, all that ends well, all is well, and they can roll together. And even in his response speech, Senator Saraki actually challenged Adams Oshomole that he should strive to map out injustice in the party and address, problems in the party and everything. I thought that was an avenue to vent this thing, and it's going to be considered, and all is looking well and rosy. Till the shocker of yesterday. So, did you see this coming?
Yes, I knew that it was not over. There's no doubt about that. In politics, wounds are very deep, and it's not particularly easy to get over them. And I also know that, as in war, surprise is a very potent weapon. And I knew that something was brewing. How it will come out, when it would, I might not have known. The name they will come up with, I did not know. But I knew it was not all over. No, it doesn't go off like that, especially because you had congresses in the states, you had the National Convention, and they felt that their interests were not fully captured. So they're not going to fold their arms and just watch. They must make their position known. But whether it is foreclosed now that they are leaving, and leaving as a whole group or not, is another matter. Whether they want to really force a negotiation that will make some critical concession to them is another matter. And whether they are moving, but they cannot live with the whole troops, is also another matter. So during this discussion, maybe some of these ones may come
From what Bolade has just said, it's not so clear. That press conference yesterday, we saw the composition, and immediately I saw Kawu Baraji beside Galadima. Okay, I could put, but what they are saying now is that they are the authentic APC, reformed APC. Is there anything we don't know here, Asugo?
Well, I don't know how INEC is going to deal with this, because what they are saying
how
is...
will they deal with what?
No, because eventually, because what they are saying is they are not going to seek registration. That they are like the owners of the party now. So what they are going to do, that is why they immediately named their own national working committee. They have their own chairman. And so they are, I heard even this afternoon that they have an office now in Kaduna.
Somebody even told me that
You know,
the Lagos faction, any moment from now, will be addressing the media.
You know, so it's like they want to get to work immediately.
That means they have sympathy across.
So that is what we've been saying concerning them having a convention that is going to, try to bring the aggrieved parties together and make sure that everybody is united. I know that before the convention, so many people were saying there will be a walkout, but there wasn't a walkout. Yeah. Now, maybe they already had their cards that if this happened, they had a plan. If plan A fails, maybe plan B, and maybe this is their own plan B. So I want to believe that the new national chairman, and this happened when the national chairman, that is Adams Oshomole, was also meeting with Saraki. And whether I'm
sure he got wind of it.
Saraki would know now.
No, I'm not Saraki. Saraki is...
yes, I am even... Oshomole would have heard too.
Yes, okay.
Maybe he went there so that before the so-called meeting, you'll be able to assuage those guys not to meet so that this so-called reform APC will not come up. But the thing is, they had already planned on what to do. So how Oshomole is going to bring all of them together and how the APC as a party, they are going to bring these guys together is going to be a very big task for Oshomole, because right now those guys are gone. But my fear or my concern now is some of them are part and parcel of the National Working Committee, this new National Working. Like I know the Public Secretary was from the PDP, that is the new PDP. And when we tried to get information that, did you hear about this reform APC? He said, don't worry, we are going to give you they are going to brief us and all that.
He's in a very
so he himself
delicate situation.
Is seriously in a very delicate
for APC and at the same
also
time,
has loyalty.
A protege of Bukola Saraki.
Exactly. So he has to also decide his political future. So how he's going to decide will also show if we also have a reformed APC that is going to go further, or maybe move entirely and form a new party, which they are also saying, because yesterday Galadima was saying maybe they also have to move to another party. I think that is what they will do eventually. So, but they just want to have a name so that people, just like, they will have a name so that people will know that, okay, this is the reformed APC. Then later on,
is this to raise the the stick when it comes to negotiation? Yeah. Because I look at this, it was as if Mr. President wasn't paying attention to them. At the point in time, he said he doesn't need to sit down with them, that is a party thing. Now the party can deal with it. Now they've gone, all out now. Now, I'm sure it will catch the attention of Mr. President, and maybe Mr. President might be forced to negotiate with these people.
Yes. First and foremost, I think we should disabuse our minds with what happened yesterday, that it's no longer MPDP. It's not about MPDP again. Because Galadima, as you know, was the former national secretary of CPC, which was the party of President Muhammadu Buhari. So he wasn't a member of MPDP. This is an entirely new person. And this is somebody that is known to be very, very close to the president, at least used to be close to the president. Then when you also look at, if you see their membership, and the rest, I've taken time to look at it because I cut across. In fact, I saw our friend, what's his name? The spokesman, Kasim Afegwa. I saw his name there. Aggrieved members. So this is an association of aggrieved members. I don't know why they call themselves reformed. So the name should have been aggrieved APC members. So, but back to your question, I may a bit disagree with what Azoko said, saying that they are gone. I don't think they are gone, because anything can happen in politics. Okay. They think that this is the right time for them to negotiate their way, their time. Not as regards the current dispensation, but as far as 2019, negotiate down their 2019, the future.
Political future.
What is our stake in this party we want to know? Understand? And there have been a lot of cry of marginalization here, and there's been going on for long. So many of the, most of the people that came together to form APC, especially so many of these guys, have been crying. Name them, there are so many of them. Okay, look at our former senator, for example, in Lagos, Honorable Mamora. That was the deputy, what is it? No, I said, no, I'm just saying, no, it's not. No, I say, yeah, no, he was next to Amechi.
Yes, Deputy Director
General. But where is he today? And there are so many other people. So this is a fight over the spoil of war. Okay, they believe that they deserve more than they are being given presently. And don't forget, they also have some governors backing them, who also don't feel it, although they are on the back, but we know them. We can start naming them. If you want us to name them, we can start naming them. Then we also know now the big guy, the guy in the Senate. But my worry is that this was the same mistake the president made when the Senate president and the House of Rep speaker were to be chosen. He said, I don't want to be part of this thing, let them do their own thing. After they've done their own thing, there became a problem. Ndume was talking that they should forget what is Ndume's political value. Even in Borno State, where he is, apart from his senatorial district, these guys are very, very powerful people within the party, and they cannot be ignored. And I believe that APC should be able to do something about that.
Can these reformed APC members hold Mr. President to ransom?
Well, if you put it that way, no, I don't think they can hold him to ransom. If you put it that way. But they could catch his attention. And I think that,
his attention?
Yes, catch his attention.
Hold him in ransom in the sense that 2019,
yes,
becoming dicey for Mr. President, as when those 5 governors left, left PDP that time, and at that point in time, you know, that was like a done deal for...
Obviously, that's what they want to show. They are showing that they are also powerful. They are showing that if we decide to leave, it's going to affect your chances. But I believe the president that I know could also be very stubborn, as it were. He could be stubborn. If he thinks that this is all about holding me by the jugular, he could also just dare, whatever the outcome of that. But I think it won't get to that. I think that at the end of the day, you see, in every tendency like this, there are the hawks, there are the liberals. There are the hawks who will say, let's go all out. No negotiation. We can make our impact elsewhere. And there are those who say, no, gentlemen, take it easy. It's for our interest so that we don't lose it all. Let's see what we can get from the current setting. So all those things will still be going on. I mean, the NPDP, for example, you had somebody like Senator Abdullahi Adamu, who is not part of this. From the beginning, he has not been part of them. But even among those who are together now, there are those who are still looking for what can be done to accommodate us.
Because I was told that from the other parties they've been negotiating with, that it has not been a rosy story.
No, it can never be. There are people there. And besides, there are people who take Senator Danjuma Goje, for example. Now, if he leaves the APC and goes into the PDP where you have Dan Kwabo, he has to factor that into his consideration.
Exactly.
There is a landlord in the PDP. And the relationship between them is not smooth at all. When he lost his wife, he openly challenged the governor and said, you did not even sympathize with me. You only came here now because you have somebody from Abuja here. No? So the relationship is not very good. Going to that, he will be the tenant and Dakwabo will be the landlord. So some of these things will come into the consideration. It's not a very straight matter, but it is good enough. They have come out and it's making impact. It's creating ripples within the APC, and they cannot be ignored. There is a need. The new chairman, Oshomole, is saying, I'm willing to discuss. He said that, look, I don't mind eating my words. If my words are nutritious, why not? I can go back and eat my words on this matter, that we'll look at issues. I hope they can. The issue is not making concessions. There will be concessions, but who makes the critical concession? I think that is the matter.
Moving forward now, if they are to remain within the APC, they will ask for blah, 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 blah. And somebody said it that, look, if they succeed in getting those positions, that is what has made this government, you know, like to be...
crippled the government.
Yes, to now. That is the most difficult demand to make, Asuko.
It depends on their demands. But I know that most of them will be like the lawmakers. And maybe those ones who spent money in 2015 and they want contracts, you know, for them to get their feet back, you know. Like...
And to drop cases.
You know, and to drop maybe corruption cases. Which,
like the Senate president now naturally want to come back as the Senate president.
Yes, exactly.
The speaker would naturally want to come back as the speaker.
But even, you know, like the speaker, for instance, it wasn't even at the Congress. It means that they are going to want to look at, because I heard something about automatic tickets for all the lawmakers, you know, who are aggrieved, you know, then, like we mentioned, one or two other people who worked seriously and was not given anything at all. So there will be so many, because this politics is all about interest. And if we just shy, like what Omoni just said, if everything the president will be doing now, we will be calculating. Will this benefit him? Because he has declared he wants to be president. So it's either his strategist or his advisor will be looking at, I know that they will be thinking, if we damn these people and say, okay, we don't need them, it means that the 2019 election, he will be playing dirty. That is what it's going to mean. And will the so-called reform APC be ready for the onslaught of a sitting president? And not just a sitting president like what we had in 2015. This is a former general. You understand what I mean? So it is now left for the party, either Oshomole to now, just like we are saying, to bring out his cards and discuss with them. What will they be putting down for these guys? Will they be automatic tickets? Will they be giving them ministerial appointment? Even the so-called ministerial appointment, even the president's wife once said that even the people that are around my husband, they didn't work for him. So they are also supposed to understand that. That if the president's wife could say that, so what are we saying? So the thing is, they must also look at all the things that are on ground and look at if Oshomole that is going to do most of the work and most of the talking now. And then the president will have to listen to Oshomole in one way or the other for the APC to survive. That is just it.
So the president does not necessarily have to sit down with them?
No. See, listen, if they are looking for the president to sit down with them, it might take a long time. Because if they make demands that doesn't sit well with the president, he will tell them, I'm the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and not only the people of maybe Reform or APC. So you cannot bend the president. It's only Oshomole that will now tell Mr. President, I believe you can do this. I believe you can do this for these guys. I believe you can do this. He has to play. We know that he wants to do some things. But the president must not break his back for a few people.
Do you believe so?
Well, in politics is about giving and taking. Yeah. At times you have to bend backwards. At times you have to act so foolish, so stupid, to get what you want.
If he does that, will it be to the detriment of Nigeria? Because this president that I know is always Nigeria first. So will he want to bend for his own interest?
Let's take this one after. I said you could be to conquer. Listen, in 2015, the APC government made several promises to Nigerians. It was on that basis of those promises that Nigerians voted them. How many of those promises have they kept after 2014, 2015? That's politics. There was a situation where the APC said, no, the president said, no, it wasn't me that made it, it was the party. The party said, no, you made it. So that's what I'm telling you about politics. The worst of friends today can be the best of friends tomorrow.
Absolutely.
There was a time when President Olusegun Obasanjo was vehemently against Lagos State. That for years, all that Lagos State deserved were not given to them. But after the day, we still saw when the APC, everybody went to Obasanjo, and they became a navigator. So that is politics for you. But let us take it a bit further. The problem we have presently is that APC is wholly divided across the states. It's not just what we are just looking at are just the guy that in Igbo land we said, they normally say that when you see some guys dancing by the bush side, the main people beating the drum are right inside the bush. We've not even seen, you'll be shocked that the main guys are not even coming out yet. It can't be Galadima. Who is Galadima? Right? There must be some people. Let's take it one by each. Yesterday, the 3 senatorial chairmen in Kwara State had a press conference. I'm sure you are aware.
Yeah.
You know, remember they had a press conference. What did they say? They say, if we can't, please lead us out of APC. That was a very, very big statement. In Bauchi State, the Speaker of the House of Representatives is at war with the governor.
Yes.
That's basic. In Kano State, there's a problem between Kwakwanso and Ganduje. If you move further, if you go to Kaduna, Sani and the 3 senators are on one side, the governor is on one side. And a few days ago, Sani said, Adam Shomole seems to be coming a bit too late. So across board, there are a lot of problems. So all I think is that what they should start doing is, and that is where Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu again comes to play.
Let me first pick my first caller. Yeah. Salaudeen is calling us from Kogi State. Thank you for joining us, Salaudeen.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
I'm Salaudeen from Kogi State.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you, gentlemen, over there. But you remain Oditoju.
Babajide.
Yes, Babajide.
He's not around.
Yeah,
We'll be back soon.
I like the man so much for impression. So much impression of that man. But what I want you people to understand there is that Buhari, as a person, who doesn't even need any other person, all those so-called themselves APC, we don't believe all those ones. They are people. They are armed robber. If armed robber want to pull from your party, allow them.
Salaudeen, I won't allow you to.
We don't take such words here, please. We don't.
Okay.
We don't. Yes. So as I was saying, you know, as a roundup, it would be foolhardy for anybody to say, no, they are irrelevant. No. They are this, they are not that. They've forgotten that this same president contested 3 times and lost in this country. He did. It was not until we had a convergence of parties, the ACN, the AMP, CPC, and the rest of them, as a political party, that they were able to wrestle power away from PDP. So anyone that says that Buhari doesn't need them and the rest of them is just making the mistake of his life. No matter how stupid, quote and unquote, their demands are, they should be looked at. They should be called. They are members of the party. Most of them have made sacrifice presently. And I think it will be in the best interest. And Adam Soshomole is going about it the best way, as far as I'm concerned. Don't forget, this man was a former president of NLC. That was practically that can negotiate anything. I think with time, if all hands were put together and the reconciliatory party, the conciliatory committee, I don't know whether it has been disbanded. The reconciliation, if it's not, then Asiwaju should be able to come into this now too, as well.
Where do we go from here?
Well, he has suggested negotiations continue. It's politics. It never ends. And number one, we need to realize that there are no organic parties here, whether in government or out of government. If you come into government, there is a problem with sharing the spoils of war. Yeah. If you lose, there's a problem with people are sulking as to, well, I sold my house to seek election, and there is nothing coming again. It's both ways. But there is need for them to manage the situation. And like was said, it's good that you had an election, somebody like Oshiomhole had come up. Oshiomhole is seen as fairly neutral in this matter. Maybe he will be able to get some people across. But whatever it may be, it's a question of the strategists of the party coming together and deciding that, look, we can concede this much. It's important. But beyond this, we can't go.
All right, when we return, the Senate calls for overhaul of security infrastructure. Stay with us. We'll be right back after the timeout. Welcome back. desperate time, no doubt, demand desperate measures to get out of the woods. The festering security situation in Nigeria should prompt the leaders and the led to think out of the box to get reprieve as the nation continues to grapple with insecurity. The Senate, at its sitting on Wednesday, passed a resolution that Nigeria's security architecture be overhauled for efficient delivery. The upper legislature also called for isolation of the current security challenges from political partisanship and ethno-religious sentiments. But who bails the cats in this situation? Azuko. Overhauling of the entire security architecture. This happened in South Africa. This has happened in some countries. And I feel the Senate is coming out to say, look, we need to sit down and rejig our security system away from the normal, superficial, on and off rejigging we do.
Yeah, if you look at it, I think the Senate is right, It's not about just removing the heads, Even if you remove the heads, we still have to start looking at the number of people that are being killed. Just look at it, all the governments that we've been having, and they remove maybe all the security chiefs and all that, we still face the same problem. So it means that there's something that we are not doing right.
Strategy.
There's something, maybe the government of that day, either the previous or the present, they are not doing right in terms of security. So they have to look for a new security strategy. Forget about, most times I wonder when they say they are doing security summit, what do they really discuss at this summit or these conferences? And the resolution of these conferences, do they give it to those that are concerned for them to implement? Because sometimes you just find out that, okay, after, I know there was a time Senate said they were going to do security summit. Recently, some state government also did security summit. Did they implement the resolutions in the security? Or did they just allow people to come and present papers? Present the papers, and then the people go, the guest speaker collects his honorarium, and then he goes. So the government will have to look at what is it that is wrong with our security structure. Because look at the police, for instance. We were here some days back, 2 days ago or so, and we are talking about some police officers who had a protest for just unpaid allowance.
This was the same Nigerian police under MD Yusufu. In those days. Well-trained.
Well-trained and well-mannered. And these are the same police officers who go outside Nigeria and they get recognition. So what is outside there that they are doing correctly and they are not doing well? Or is it that those governments, there should be something that they are doing well there, that we are not doing well here? And those are some of the things that the security chiefs maybe have to look at. It's not about buying equipment. We might buy this equipment to prosecute the war. But even if you buy this equipment, do they have the requisite knowledge and competence to even make use of this equipment? Yes, the Americans, the British, they've been sending their own officers to come and train our guys. But after that war next, we still have these killings in Zamfara, the killings in Benue, in Plateau. Is it that the intelligence architecture of Nigeria has fallen? Somebody will have to bring it back.
That we can't preempt.
That we can't preempt
attacks.
Be proactive. I mean, we have to always be reactive. So the government will have to sit down. It's not about the talk shop. It's either they rejig the entire, either bring in intelligent security chiefs, not just because of hierarchy this time around. Because hierarchy matters, but there are some people in the intelligence or in the security, either the army, the police, the Air Force, all of the DSS, all of them, that have the requisite knowledge about security that they have to bring forward and push them into all these units so that they can bring out what really happens. Why can't we preempt attacks or killings before it happens so that we stop crying about people being killed in Nigeria?
Siken,
Yeah.
the working Nigerian security architecture
Yeah.
that should be overhauled.
Yes. Basically, we have serious problems. First is the fact that most of our security chiefs are now politicians. That is a problem.
They have always been.
That is a problem. That's a big problem. Some of them have become ethnic biased. They no longer see themselves as members of the armed forces of Nigerian police heads. They see themselves as people from a certain section of the country. And that itself puts a lot of problem on the system. The third one is that we are having security outfits that no longer share information among themselves because of lack of trust. The DSS is not sharing with the police. The police is not ready to share with civil defense. The civil defense, the army, the Navy, Air Force don't even trust themselves.
Working across purposes.
They are working across. It to the extent that the Minister of Defense, NSA, I think it was the NSA, that came out to say that security chiefs were not taking commands from him, directives from him. It is a problem. It is a big problem because a house divided among itself cannot. If you find that kind of situation, then it becomes a problem. That trickles down to the last person down the line. Then we're talking of intelligence. Just a few days ago, 7 policemen were also killed in Abuja. So it's not just about civilians. It's not just about this. 7 policemen were killed in Abuja, right where the IG of police says. And what did the spokesman of the police come out to say? That is why we say we are not going to scrap Moshood, our guy. Moshood came out and said that is why we are not. Is that what we're talking about? That is not it.
As human life.
Those are human life. I'm not talking about SARS or no. That is not the issue. We have some level of deficiency, and I believe and I support those have been calling that we should remove our security chiefs. Yes, they've done their best. Sincerely, no, I'm not blaming them. They have tried their best, but once in a while, you need to bring in some new people to prove some points.
Yes.
These ones don't have anything to prove again, and that is the issue. You know, when you are pushed, if you are given a tax that those of us that were into this, if you are marketing, even in the banks and everything, you are given targets. You'll be told if you can be able to bring in 1 billion, we promote you as an assistant manager. You strive to be that. Here they will tell you that, if you can do this and this, you become a director here at TVC. You will kill yourself to attain that. Most of we don't set targets for our security chiefs.
Exactly.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Those are the problems we are having. They are so comfortable, and I wonder why the president will continue to renew and renew and renew. The president went as far as Benue and said that he gave a directive to the IG and he frightened it. What has happened to the IG? But what is the IG doing? Running after politicians, those that this thing, picking up this. Those are not this. We have serious, and that needs to be addressed. And we're moving towards 2019. It's going to be more. Because now arms, from what we've heard, arms are coming in. Politicians are arming their boys and the rest of them. Before you know it, we're going to have a lot of problems. What we need to do now is for the president to start. And one of the reasons why President Buhari was elected was because he was a general. One of the campaign promises of APC was security, that PDP weren't doing anything, that good Lord Jonathan was rubbish. And people say, oh, okay, let us try a general. I think we can. Now it was Amnesty International came out to say, in the past 6 months, we had double digits in terms of deaths compared to what we had last year. It's becoming terrible. So something has to be done immediately about that.
What's your take?
Yes. Asukwo said something about the summits that have been held and what has come out of them. The truth of the matter is that, generally speaking, President Buhari has shown that he's very slow. He's slow at taking decisions. He's slow at giving effect even to decisions that even his own fake arrives at. And that's a problem. You remember that even last year, he came out himself to say that he was going to rejig even the executive council.
Up till now.
Up till now. Even those who had resigned. So he has not replaced. It's just there. People will cry and shout and all that. the president takes no action. It is true that merely removing the service chiefs might not give the necessary effect. No, it is true. But at the same time, in the first instance, it does something to the confidence of the people. People begin to say, okay, let's see how these ones will do. Yeah. Within that period, they are able to rise up to the occasion.
Yeah, they want to prove themselves.
When you don't do, people say it's same of same, and you just continue. The IGP, there has been complaints here and there, all over the place, that nothing is happening. Let's see. But I think beyond all these effects, there is need for something much more fundamental. The structure of the security architecture itself. You cannot have this centralized police thing. There is need for us to have devolution of power. You see, in Lagos, when the current governor came, he built on what he met on ground.
Exactly.
You have 3 helicopters now. You have 2 speedboats. You have...
let me quickly just take this phone call. Shuaib is calling us from Kano. Thank you for joining us. Good evening, Shuaib.
Good evening, Mr.
Yes, go ahead with your contribution.
Please, I would like to talk about the APC and the NPDP.
Quickly.
Yeah, you see, it is true that the president might be, a kind of, I don't want to use the word tentative. You see, you still believe that some appointees of previous governments are still in his government. That is appointees of Jonathan administration, even that of Yaradua. But be that as it may, we trust this man. The issue of RAPC, NPDP, to me, as far as I'm concerned, the president should not go into a kind of pact.
Should not negotiate with them.
And Dogara, sincerely, he should not go in. How far has he enjoyed their relationship with him? You see,
the network.
Okay, I think Shuaib. So, as we were saying before,
I was saying that, take a place like Lagos, for example. I know not every state has the same financial muscle of Lagos, and that is a problem. But they've been able to, the security trust fund,
yes,
and all that. It's
corporate
really
bodies
and the
come
corporate
together
bodies are involved.
They spend money,
which means the people are involved. It's
and
not
that's why
just
the
government.
RRS is different.
Yes. And that's very important. I remember when Amici was governor in Rivers State, that at a point where you had kidnaps and so on everywhere, and there was problem, everything was almost breaking down. He also rose up to the occasion. He even established a training arm, and you brought in some people from Mossad to come and be training people there. Then there was problem in Abia, because it's a central thing. They took those people that had been trained to Abia State, because those ones were having more pressing problem at that moment. There is need for us to really look at the power structure in the country. There's need to devolve. Everything is about the people. The people must be located in it. Abuja is too far from where the people are.
Exactly.
They must be involved. It is when you do that, you have real community policing, not just by the tongue, but real community policing. That is when you are able to actually feel the impact. What is happening in Plateau State, it is the people who will be able to know. If you bring people from Katsina, and you bring from Oyo, and you bring from Rivers, they are strangers in the land. They cannot understand it as much as the militia on ground. So these are some of the things that should be considered. But unless we have fiscal federalism, in which case you don't have the federal government taking almost all the money, then you will not have the states able to do this. We need to really go more fundamental than look at things from the surface.
Asuko, he spoke about this restructuring our security architecture, and he spoke about police, devolution of, he spoke about state police. And that's a fundamental one.
It's fundamental.
When you look at the crime rates, when you look at the militias, when you look at what is happening all around.
See, if we want to start state police matter, I know Ekweremadu wants to bring it, but with the current politicians we have.
I think Femi Gbajabiamila has passed actually submitted.
Yeah, with the current politicians we have, state police might not work. Because just imagine.
Are we going to take? Are we going to say because of the demerits?
Wait.
And
of the fears.
The fears. And
community
we are just
policing. You know that even in Lagos, let's use Lagos for instance. Community policing is working in Lagos. What is Ambode doing
with
differently
with
the neighborhood watch that other states cannot, adopt? It's just for the people to pump in money, for the government to pump in money into community policing. Some of the guys, the neighborhood watch guys.
You're not contradicting yourself.
No. Look at it. See, it is community policing. But let's not
start at one level, we have those neighborhood watch.
But do you know they don't carry arms?
Yes, they don't carry arms. At another level, we have this RRS.
Yes.
And the funding of RRS, the way RRS has been,
is by who? By
Lagos
the
state government. Yes.
But by the time you now give the powers, complete powers to the state governor to say, control police itself, have your own police force. Kaduna, for instance, DJ used to say, Kaduna, you just imagine giving
a
full police force, for instance.
Shows Sani will be in trouble.
You understand? Nobody is going to drink water.
Let me say something. But that is where we're also getting it wrong. Don't forget some of the security challenges we have now is because most of the state executives, chief executives, don't have direct control on these people.
Yes.
Let me finish. They are called political now. They are now seeing gods. Wait. I'm telling you, most often than not, the commissioner of police in the state will rather take instruction from the IG, rather from the state. If something is happening,
that's the structure. That's the structure.
That's the structure. Those are the kind of things.
Can't we change that particular
That is what we should be looking. That's what things we should be looking at.
We can change that one. Listen, we can change it, but not to entirely.
A governor recently said that he has stepped down to be the chief security. Have you forgotten? The governor said
the process of amending the constitution is quite cumbersome, and why are you going to use that opportunity to just change one law?
Sorry, let me remind us of something. In the Second Republic, you had a man called Bishop Eyitene as Commissioner of Police in then Anambra State. And the man said, the governor is not my security officer. I take my instructions from Lagos. And he deliberately flouted whatever instruction came from the governor. And nothing came out of it. Then you had Sunday Adewusi, who was the central man. He was a one-man riot squad. Whatever he did, he just disregarded any governor. So that is the structure we have in place. If you say you change it, are you then saying that the federal police will take instructions from the governor and it will still not contradict what you do? The
final take is that we shouldn't forget the motivation of the officers. Motivation of our officers. Most of our officers are not well motivated. I'm telling you the truth. If you see what these guys go through, either in civil defense, some of them their salaries are not paid. Yes, that is what is happening.
Most of the governors must take it.
Those guys are not motivated.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. We just have to move on. We have to move on. And now, it's 9 days to July 14th governorship election in Ekiti State. The gladiators are already feeling the heat and displaying desperate tendencies to curry support and sympathy. Incumbent Governor Ayodele Fayose, though not a contestant, raised an alarm over alleged plots by the Independent National Electoral Commission officials to rig the election in favor of APC and its candidate, Dr. John Kayode Fayemi. The electoral umpire has described the allegation as untrue and baseless. INEC frowned at attempt to tarnish its reputation with unsubstantiated allegations in its bid to deliver credible governorship and general elections in 2019. Wow. I just finished watching the PDP rally just before 4 o'clock news and everything, and I could feel the heat. Very much. What was coming out from Ado-Ekiti, and especially Governor Ayodele Fayose, what was coming out. And at the point in time, I was looking at, man, this it's not as if this is not looking like in other clients when they want to have an election, it's going to be as if it's celebration of democracy. Everybody, you stroll in, you stroll out, and I remember in 2016, I went to go and cover the presidential election of Ghana, and that day there was work. That day, school children went to school and everything. Market women, I went to the market, we transmitted it live. I went to the market and people were buying and selling. And after their market, this thing, break time, they'll go to the polling unit and they do everything. But we're July 14th now. From what you hear from the gladiators, is as if we are preparing for war, Bolade.
Yeah. Really, elections in Nigeria are war. It's warfare. I remember that when I was in the university in the early 80s, that one of my professors, Professor Asobi, came up with a paper and he said, elections as warfare. Politicians as generals. He did a paper on it because the way they prepare, the money that goes into it, and it has since gone worse. Then you were in shooting, now you shoot. You prepare by arming your thugs. So it's a major problem. And in Ekiti in particular, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, one way or the other, he was defeated the last time. He didn't become governor. He's contesting again. He's the candidate of his party. He does not certainly want a repeat of that. Ayodele Fayose wants to show that he's the street man.
Peter the Rock.
If he calls himself. No? So it's a major problem. The stakes are very, very high. And unfortunately, the shoes are on the other feet now. The other time, his party was in government. And we know what they said happened. You had Obani Koro, who was Minister of State for Defense. He had to relocate to Ado-Ekiti before the election. We had Awoshiyan what?
He's not a saint, he's an APC now.
Well, so according to you. According to you. Then Awoshiyan, also from Ife, who was then the Minister of Police Affairs. He also relocated there. And they even went to the extent of ensuring that APC did not even hold its rallies. We can't forget that. Overnight before the election, they arrested their leaders.
Governor Amechi was even stopped from entering.
From entering. So there were a lot of things then. Now, because Yorubas will say, Abeni lori, konje kan fi da koja lori ohun. Now there was somebody who has been used to cutting heads. Whenever he sees the sword, he says, they are coming again, no, because that's the usual tricks. No. So I'm not surprised that he's crying out. And I'm also not surprised that INEC is saying, you don't have anything to worry about. Just prepare and work. He mentioned Amina Zakari and said she is the commissioner in charge of logistics and operations, and that she's coordinating a grand plan to rig, and that there are 2 deputy directors and who are doing all this and all that. I agree that there's a problem. I agree that with such high stakes, a number of things might go wrong. I agree. But I will call on INEC also, not just to dismiss whatever may be happening. The chairman of INEC himself should put an eye on Ekiti. Not that was to disabuse the minds of the people and see what could be done. Then the security agents, we hope that they could be professionals. We've not had security men who are very professional. We're just discussing about them, and that they are more political than even politicians. We hope, because they look at the body language and they want to react, to act in accordance with the body language of their bosses. I hope that will not happen in the Ekiti. I hope people will see a free, fair, and credible election that will be the pride of Nigeria.
Azuko, the INEC chairman was he came on Saturday, and from what we saw and everything he said, did you see Professor Mahmoud, you know, in any way being partisan to satisfy any of the parties?
Well, if you are talking about looks and what people say.
His antecedent, what he has done so far, those elections.
He has conducted like elections in 5 states or the governorship land. And I'm not sure anybody has complained about the
APC lost, PDP,
yeah, exactly.
So it has been
fair. So, and if you want to tell me, let me describe the person I saw. You know, it doesn't look like someone that wants to, you know, favor anybody, because he believes his name is at stake, his reputation is at stake, everything. You know that this Ekiti is a serious, is more or less like the general election to him. And that was what he told us, you know. So I want to believe the people he will be sending, the commissioners he will be sending, he would have also told them.
Yes, he also promised to be there before the election.
Yes, he said he will be there before the election, as usual anyway.
Yeah.
You know, he will also tell them, this is what you need to do. You must also show that fairness as an independent umpire in this election. There are fears, and that is why they are also coming out to say, no, I know recently I heard that they are selling PVCs on Alibaba, you know, and things like that. And they have said you can't even use it, you know. So I would also encourage the INEC for them to be fair. The PVCs they will be sending, or the PVCs that Nigerians have now, they must also educate the polling officers, the officers that will be at every unit. Because I've noticed in so many the elections that I have covered, sometimes some of them will just come. Thank God the incidence form, that is another problem. People will just come and say, it's not working, it's not working. You give them incidence form, they have to stop.
But in a situation whereby the card reader is truly not working.
It's not working. That is if it's truly not working. If it's truly not working. So the laws, the electoral laws must always, you know, be guided. They must follow the electoral laws to the letter. If the card reader is not working, you use the incident. So that everybody will be happy.
Even Ayo, the way he has been raising alarm.
He has been showing videos of how they want to bring.
Because I don't understand. But he went overboard this afternoon by saying that he was informed that the president is coming on Tuesday, that they asked him to come and receive the president, you know, as a matter of protocol, and it's declared on national TV that he's not going to receive him. And I was like, man.
You shouldn't blame Ayo Fayose. The stakes are high. The stakes are very high. Don't forget, that is the only state in the whole of Southwest that is PDP. There used to be two. Ondo and Ekiti. Ekiti has gone APC. No, Ondo has gone APC.
This is the last state.
The last state. So he knows that it's a do or die, as our former president used to say it. So he's using, in politics, you use whatever strategy you have to be able to, you make all the noise, you make all the shouts, you can cry foul, you can cry elephant, you can cry anything, just to make sure that...
It shouldn't be taken serious.
It should be taken serious to a large extent. If he has evidence, if he has evidence, it should bring it to the public. I don't want that kind of labor cry and hear. But don't forget, what we cannot take away from Ekiti is the fact that Ayo Fayose is very, very popular in Ekiti State, whether we like it or not. Anybody that is going to tell you, is not between Fayemi and Professor Leka. It's a fight between Fayemi and Fayose. Before, it was 16-0, as he has always said. But I don't think it will be 16-0 this time around. But the stakes are high. What we just need to say, just as Asokwa and my brother has said, is that let all the umpires make sure that they are above board. We don't want inconclusive elections that we have seen in the past. The situation where they make sure that all those that are supposed to vote voted. Security agencies should be able to do their job accurately. They should be able to see themselves as Nigerians, not the mouthpiece of anybody. So that at the end of it, or because what is going to happen in Ekiti is going to determine what will happen in 2019.
I wanted to say that, but this is like a precursor.
Yes.
This is like the first leg.
It is first leg of what is going to happen in 2019.
Then 2019.
Even before
yes, that's what's going to happen.
That's it. Final take.
Yes, that's it.
Yes. Well, I believe that Ekiti is offering us an opportunity to test the preparedness of the INEC. And they should know that this is a test case for 2019. 2019 is too important to the health of this country that nobody should tamper with it. And Ekiti, being the forerunner of that election, all the stakeholders, the political parties, the security agencies, the Electoral Commission should realize that they owe Nigeria something and they need to deliver on this one.
Asuko.
Yeah, well, what I'll just say is that we just need a peaceful election. We don't want violence in any way. We don't want killings in any way. And then at this period, I think our politicians should also learn something. We have seen how the American election went. We have seen how even the Ghanaian election and so many other African elections have gone. Let them deal with issues. It should be issue-based.
Nobody spoke about issues
today.
You know, nobody talked about
and it's just across board. You know, so let it just be issue-based. So that what are you offering to the people,
honestly,
and how you want to do it. That is what we want our election and our politics should be.
Sikian.
Yes.
Finally, quickly.
As far as it is concerned, all the gladiators should know that this is a prelude to what is going to happen in 2019. INEC should know that their name is at stake. Whatever happens will determine whether people will come out in 2019 to vote or not. Because that is why we'll be having a lot of voters apathy. Once that is taken care of and we are satisfied, we'll make sure that 2019 will be a success.
Yeah, from our own end here, Asuko, we promised our viewers that from next week, I'm going to be in the kitty and you'll be rest assured of getting everything, all the bits, and we pray that the election is free and fair. And I want to thank you.
Also planning something for the viewers.
Something, yes, for the viewers. Okay, next week I will be able to unleash it. Sometimes next week. I want to thank you, Mobolaji Omonijo. Thank you for coming. Mobolade Omonijo, beg your pardon there. Thank you for coming. Asuko James, thank you. And Chris Kende Wadu, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Part of this great show.
Thank
and
you.
That's it on Journalist Hangout. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11, and you can also watch Journalist Hangout on other platforms showing on the screen. And you can catch us on YouTube. That's youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Uzubaku. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.